What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How's everybody doing out there on this Wednesday, May 1st, 2024, for episode 122? Dave, I think we were just like awkwardly staring at the screen.
We 100%
that was
were.
really weird. It was like a delayed.
I didn't like that
we
one
just
bit.
kind of like stared. So anyone that watched, like if you go back and watch the beginning of this, Dave and I are just kind of like petrified in place, looking absolutely.
For a second, I was like, "Do we speak?"
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I tried to get like the video. Yeah, no, that was a malfunction. But hi, how's everybody doing? We hope that you are having a great time of it. We are the Alex Cuesta Show. And if you are watching on YouTube, if you are watching on X, where you are watching, thank you so much. We appreciate it as always. On X, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, let everybody know. That's important. Leave a comment, because if you leave comments, if you're lucky enough, we'll read them and then we will chastise you if it's stupid. On X, if you are watching as well, repost, go and follow us. We are on a quest, Dave, are we not? We are trying to get our subscribers and follower counts up on YouTube. We're trying to get to 100. We're currently sitting at 61. So the more subscribers we get, the happier we shall be. And in terms of X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, we're trying to get to 4,000. We're at 3,588. I think we went down a few, which is never a good thing, Dave. I think it's your fault. Everyone hates you. I think we were better off when you were gone, when I was talking to, Professor McCullough.
Most likely.
Nicole. But we have to live with you because, we have to monitor your sex change and however that's going. So that is, that's a thing that we have to do here. So overall, if you like what you hear, go and follow us on all the different social medias. Just go and search the Alex Cuesta Show. So I want to jump in first. I want to give our shout out to our buddy Keith Malinak. He is, always, if something good goes on the show, he's throwing us on the blaze on Packray Unleashed, and we appreciate that. All the shout outs and everything. I want direct everyone there to his YouTube channel, At the Mic with Keith Malinak. He does some call-in shows. I know we did one recently on the 19th of April. I know he plans on doing more. He has awesome guests on Fridays. David was a guest on one of his Friday shows where he just kind of shoots the shit. So go there, give Keith some love, At the Mic with Keith Malinak. Go there and find it. Go subscribe to his page as well. Before we jump into this week's show, last week we had a fun show. We had on Dan Ball. He is the host of Real America with Dan Ball on One American News Network, OANN. And we just had a ton of fun just talking about everything in terms of what's going on in the world. We got sidetracked 1,000 times, and that was okay because it was a good time. We had fun doing it. But this week, we have another fun show ahead of you. We had someone who I was giving him an open invite from quite literally the beginning of when I started podcasting. And I think it was about a month ago. We're in a little bit of a group chat together with another buddy. And he's like, "Hey, when do I get an invite on?" And it's like, you have an open invite whenever the fuck you want. Because he's someone that for some reason is one of my best friends. Lived with him all throughout college. And I think, he's better off for knowing me, damn it. But I don't know if he is or not. But he is my buddy, David. You kind of know him, but you don't. Rudy Colich, what is going on, my man?
Glad to be on the show, fellas.
I am happy that you finally jumped on and you agreed to. Rudy is someone that has played in stocks his whole life. Finally got serious about fitness after college. He was like only half serious in college. And then he also has decided to go and move to freedom like you, Dave. He is a Texan living over in the San Antonio area, if I'm not mistaken, Rudy.
Yeah. Best places in the country.
It is one of the best places in the country. You're absolutely right. So I want to jump right in because we have a fun show ready for us. Because one of the things that, we've talked about before, Rudy, and Dave, we've talked about on the show, X, formerly known as Twitter, Elon Musk has bought it. It has now become the quote-unquote bastion of free speech, which I sometimes question because I think that Elon Musk may be the Antichrist. Rudy, how do you feel about X?
Wait.
Go ahead.
What do you mean?
Go ahead. How do you feel about X? What is your opinion on
How
it?
is Elon
Threw that out there?
Oh, yeah.
the Antichrist? Please elaborate.
All right. So, David, we've had this conversation before, right?
I believe so.
He is someone that, initially when he burst on the scene, he was the darling of the left, right? Tesla and all the SpaceX and the green things that he was doing, and everyone loved him. And the moment he sits there and buys X. Now all of a sudden he's for free speech. He's against this and that. He's kind of trying to win both sides over, like in a way, and he's made more enemies on the left, but like, and he's become more red pilled. But I kind of see it as like it could be a bait and switch, because in the end, this guy's goal is to get to Mars. He thinks we're destroying our planet. He is a climate crazy, and his goal is to get away. So I don't know. I feel like he's one of those people that we're propping up. He's this great messiah, gave us free speech back in our platform, and then all of a sudden sweep it out from underneath us. And listen, he's trying to turn X into WeChat. WeChat's not a good thing. So it's to me, I like what he's doing so far, but it's kind of a trust as far as you could throw, and I'm a very weak man. I cannot throw Elon Musk right now. So,
dude, Elon Musk we trust. If anything, I could see more if you think he might become like a Lex Luthor, right? Because he has the car. It's not a car company, right? It's an AI company and software company. It's not a car company. It's just constantly collecting data. And he's going to own all electricity, right? Because he's building batteries. Then he's going to own all the internet because of SpaceX, but the digital. And he's going to own the rockets. So if anything, he's going to own like everything. So I don't think Antichrist is the right word. Maybe possibly a Lex Luthor, but Elon Musk,
just
I think,
an
is
evil
amazing.
villain.
The thing is, but the way we are with how we worship people, and we see this especially with the idiots on the right, like it's like someone says one thing that they like, all of a sudden they're like, they're the best thing ever. Like we see it with RFK still, where they're just like, hey, he's against the COVID-19 vaccine, but he's called for people that don't believe in his climate things to die, but we love him. Like, I don't know. It could be Antichrist-esque. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but I could see something like that with the way that we worship people now. It's kind of like everyone that we like all of a sudden is 0 to 100 right away. There's no nuance or middle ground with how we handle anything like that.
I think Elon Musk will probably go down as the greatest man of our generation for what he's done. Like, just look what he did with Twitter. Like,
use it against us.
It's a possibility, but as of now, he's doing just fantastic things. So look what he did with Twitter. X now, but finally can talk freely again. You're not getting like demonetized for weird things. They're not pushing like weird agendas. If anything, Musk is like saving us. He's pushing the country back to the better place.
You still can't misgender somebody on X. You can get banned for misgendering.
Let me try that right now.
You're gonna go try right now, but listen, you just started your X, so I'm gonna put that up there. Go follow Rudy on X if you would like to. It's at his name. It's very difficult, at Rudy Colich, right there. He just created it. Let's get him going. He doesn't have an Instagram yet. He doesn't want to post any nipple pics up there yet, but he will. He will just post a nipple pic a day. I think that's where he's gonna do. Just become the nipple guy. Like, go on Instagram and just be known as like Rudy the nipple guy. And every day, I feel like you get a follower.
Do that.
You'll get. I don't think Instagram allows that. I'm pretty sure it'll just kick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll just kick you.
Listen, there was a whole entire movement of girls saying they were breastfeeding and just taking their tits out, and I still think that's a thing.
No, I don't think that's a thing anymore. Instagram's been a lot more, I think, like banhammer.
Dave, that's your research right now. Go see if there's women still faking breastfeeding for boobies.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Dave doesn't want to look at boobies.
I'm over here looking at pressure cookers.
Are you trying to make a turkey?
I don't know. I'm trying to cook, so
This is what Dave is doing during the show, Rudy. This is the dedication that we have right here. He's over there trying to make pressure cookers. This is awful. This is what I have to work
attention.
So I will say this though. When it comes to Twitter, because I hate the name X, I think it's stupid. When it comes to Twitter, I do think there are still some issues. It might not be Musk. It might just be, he got rid of a ton of people, but maybe not all the people he needed to, which is a ton. But there are still some issues on people saying things and getting thrown off for almost no reason, at least not when it comes to like a free speech basis. You would think they'd still be on there. But I will give you this. From the no narrative pushing angle, I haven't seen a necessary narrative push like we did with Twitter back in the day. So I will give you that. At least I don't think that's a thing unless someone unearths that somehow they're pushing a narrative recently, which I haven't seen.
What was the chick's name that Musk put up there? I forget her name, but she is the person that's now basically in charge of content, I guess, curation on Twitter. And there was some concern.
Linda Yaccarino.
And there was some concern with her because she has had some moments where she said some base things, but there also is she's very lefty as well. She's one of your typical like kind of leftist thinkers. So I think it's still yet to be seen. I am still like right now I'm happy with where it's at. But my jury is still out on X because he did some good things. Andrew Tate's back on. Alex Jones is back on. Those types of things. Trump obviously can use it again. But still, I guess that's me being blackpilled a little bit. I don't trust anybody, Rudy. So you're much higher on this. Why are you much high? Like you see him as someone that could be great and things like that. What else, do you think that he needs to do with X? Do you think there's more that he can improve on?
For what he's talking about doing with the payment plan and all that, and sending money through people, I think that's pretty genius. Like Elon Musk is so much smarter than like what 99% of us.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what else he could do to improve it because I literally just started Twitter 2 weeks ago, so I don't really know.
I can't wait till you get shadow banned or you get banned. Like it'll be hilarious. Like if you say something and you
I
get
take
banned,
back everything I
he's gonna
said.
jump back on the show and be like, Elon Musk is a piece of shit.
I really
Can
like
you just
Elon
quit
Musk.
saying the most outrageous things, please? Like we need to get your like next time we have you on here, we need to have you as like either someone famous or infamous, either one.
See, I'm down.
See, I'm gonna feed you the things that I want to say that my wife would get mad at me for. How about that?
No, definitely not. I have I can't. My job.
I mean, if you care about your job, you came on this show. I don't know. You may not, but so either way, so you're all in on X. Dave, do you have any other opinions since you've started using it? I mean, been using
I
it.
haven't
Like,
really used it.
you suck at social
I
media.
look,
to be
yeah,
quite
I just
honest.
look
You're
at things.
terrible at it.
I could tweet things. I just don't. I don't know why I don't. I just
You're
don't
useless.
care. I don't know. I've been watching way too much locale stuff. I've been watching way too much downfall of people on the internet. So it's just like, do I even want to participate in this stupid shit? Like I feel pretty good about myself, but who knows what future me does whenever something happens.
So speaking of Musk, I want to jump into something that I think people may want to hear, and we've heard talked about in like the Republican red space lately is guys. And not the way David likes them, not those type of guys, but guys in terms of like how men are in the current space, what we see, what we need, how basically this generation of millennials are just tedious and terrible. Like, our generation sucks when it comes to guys. And the generation underneath us is generally the incel population of men. And there has been a severe lack of role models. There's been a lack of one thing that you like, fitness and all that stuff, Rudy. There's been a big lack of all that. So, do we have good male role models right now? And if so, who are they, Rudolph?
Oh yeah, we definitely do. We have so many. Elon Musk is one we just talked about. He's a great male role model. He shows you to work hard, follow your dreams, and just keep pushing until you succeed. Another good one is Jocko. He's like the former Navy SEAL. He's like amazing.
Yeah.
David Goggins. Everyone loves David Goggins. It makes you
Yep.
just feel like a bitch every time you watch
Yeah.
one of his clips. You're like, I'm not doing enough. I need to push harder. I need to work harder. I need to be a better provider. Who's another one? Tim Kennedy. Love Tim Kennedy. He's based in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, he's awesome. What about someone like Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate is very much like, what do you feel about Andrew Tate? Because I think that he's somebody that I don't know how serious he is all the time with some of the things he does. I think some of the things are definitely for like the meme of it.
I don't trust him.
You don't trust him? Why not?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, he was selling a product of how to become a man. He's a snake oil salesman. Don't get me wrong. He says common sense things sometimes that are obvious to anyone who pays attention. But overall, I don't trust him not one bit.
Rudy, what do you think about Andrew Tate?
Complete opposite.
Really,
I really like him. I really like his brother. I really like the people that he works with. I think what he's doing is kind of unlocking people's minds and getting rid of like the virus that a lot of people have right now is like, that woke virus. Him just telling
He's good
people
about that.
he's great at that. Like guys need to kind of step up. Like we're really like slacking, especially in this country and obviously other countries as well. But like I think what he's doing as a positive message, you got to work out. You have to be a good father. You have to be a good man. You have to provide for your family and just do more. I think that's what really we're lacking. I can give you an example of that.
So really quick though, what about like some of the side things he does, which I think some of them aren't very serious, but when he's sitting there and he's talking about like, oh, I can get this many girls as many times as I want. I have this many cars. You're a loser if you don't. Like, I feel like some of those things where there's positives, right? There is like, He's out there, he's working his ass off all the time. He's always working out, he eats right. He does encourage like the good family stuff. But then at the same time, he was running basically a sex phone hotline. And that's how he really made his money outside of kickboxing. And it's like, I get it. People can change, right? But I don't feel like that's like far enough away from where he was. What was that? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that he was running this group of women. And I don't believe the women that were like, oh, he abused us. And I think they're just trying to say that because they were caught being whores and they don't like the fact that they were caught being whores. But I mean, it's hard for me to sit there and look at somebody like that. And he says the right things, but I would take someone like Jordan Peterson, who says very similar things, just in a much more role modelish way, right? So that's where I get with Andrew Tate. And it's like, he does say a lot of good things in terms of family and work out and do that, but you could do it without being a dickhead. And I think sometimes he's just a giant dickhead.
I disagree. I think he gets that right to be a dickhead. Like he is better than us. He's worth way more than us. So why not, show it off? Like he's trying to sell that lifestyle. This if you work hard, you can achieve your dreams. Same thing that Elon Musk does. He shot his car into space. Like
Which is awesome.
bigger flex than that. Like that's just what guys do.
So would you hire women and go online and talk to guys as if you're a woman and talk about sexual things, about how pretending to be a chick and you want to suck their dick and things like that? Because that's what Andrew Tate did to make ton of his money. And then he had these women doing sex cams and things like that. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I have a little bit of a Christian background. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a saint, but I don't know if I could do that. And then sit there and tout as if I'm this like, oh, I did everything the right way, I'm a moral guy. Like, there's not much moral about Andrew Tate. He's saying the right things, but I don't think there's much moral about him. He's not like my moral compass. You know what I mean, Rude?
I see what you're saying, but again, I disagree.
And that's fine. You know, I'm okay with you disagreeing. And the guys that you mentioned before, David Goggins, Tim Kennedy, like I'm down with those guys. I think those guys are freaking awesome, and they do great things, right? And those are guys I do encourage people to follow, like because they are good guys. They're role models. They're family men. They are 2A advocates. They're based as shit. Like I'm down with all those guys. So, but so continue with Andrew Tate. Sorry, I interrupted you. What are your examples with him?
Well, pretty much what I just already said. Like, I feel like what he's doing is so good. Like, he's helping. I don't know. I already mentioned it, but like helping men become like just better dudes. Even though maybe you might agree with how he made some of his money, but the majority of his money was not made in that business. A lot of it is just being like a savant in the business world.
I will say this: if he's pulling incels away from hating women and making them work harder and get in shape and get into a relationship, that's fine, because the incels are awful. They suck. They're the worst part of the male community right now.
Yeah,
And and I hope that he continues to do that. But I'm not going to sit there and like go to like Andrew Tate University, because I'm pretty happy with where I am as a guy. I have a wife. I have 2 kids. I'm working my ass off. I'm doing this. It's like, it's like, so for me, it's like, I guess I don't need that. So maybe it's not something that kind of connects to me. And I do think it's interesting where we are, because I remember growing up and like I would see like self-help books, right? And I'd be like, fucking self-help books, those are stupid. Like I would never think of like even touching them as like a young adult. And now we're hearing all these guys who are inspirational, and we watch their YouTubes and we see their videos.
Now everything is a self-help book. Every single goddamn thing is a self-help.
We are quite literally all doing self-help in so many ways. Like I read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life and Beyond Reason, and they're both great. But I'm looking back at them, I'm like, they're self-help books.
Yeah,
like that's all they are. And so what do you think about like the self-help generation that we're in right now, Rudy? Like, is it a positive? Is has social media made all of us fucking need self-help? Like, are we all so damaged because of it?
I think it's a pro and a con. I think it's oversaturated. You really don't need that many self-help books. Like one really good one is by Marcus Aurelius. That one's pretty much the only one you really need. Like that one's just golden. A lot of the other ones are just like, it's just repeated. You got to like work hard, and you don't really need it. And especially now today, I see so many people online posting about like, oh, you got to do this and this, but like they haven't done anything in the real world.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like an Andrew Tate or an Elon Musk, because they have the real world examples. Elon Musk, you can see his rockets in space. Like that's someone like you really need to be looking up to. Not like I see like some of these streamers, like and they're kids. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and they just connect and things like that. And I agree with you. I think you need some like real world experience, right? Like you need to work. You need to know what failure is. You need to know what success is. You need to understand these things. And Rudy, you're actually a really good, example with all this because you started up here. I met you when we were at school over here in New York. And we lived together for about 3 years almost, right? While we were in school. And from there, you just decided, you were working, you had a pretty damn good job in the city. You were making decent money. And then you're all of a sudden, you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. And you just left. You went down to, Colombia and you lived in like South America. Eventually you met your future wife there and you've just traveled, all across this like Western hemisphere. And I think you're someone who people can look up to, right? Because you kind of went there with lint in your pockets. Like you had some money, but it's not like you had like a ton stored away and you took a chance. And I think that that's something cool. So kind of, I want to jump into your mindset there because I always thought it was pretty damn cool what you did. What made you just sit there and say, because like you were working at a good company, you were in the field that you went to school for, and you were just kind of like, fuck it, I'm out of here. So like, what made you want to do that? And what did your travels teach you about yourself and kind of bringing you to where you are now, where you're all about fitness, you're all about like all the things that you're doing?
Okay, so let me break it down. There's a lot of questions. So first, like the kind of like why I left finance. So if anyone knows, I was working in the bond market, making pretty good money in New York City, and then eventually I was like, this is pointless because even though I'm making good money, it is not enough to provide for my family. It's not enough to buy a place in New York City. It is pointless. I'm just spinning my wheels. So if I can't win this rat race, why am I even participating? Because you could talk to I would talk to other older men, older women, and ask for advice like, what's going on, like how did you succeed? And a lot of them just didn't succeed. They just worked their whole lives, they retired, and eventually they would die. And I was like, that's pointless, that's so stupid, why would anyone want to do that? So I was like, I'm out. I left. So and then I didn't know where I was going to go, so what I did the first time is I just printed a map of Central and South America and I threw a dart at it and it landed in South America, and that's where I went. Well, it's going to do.
And I think it comes to terms with the fact that like older generations, especially the boomer generation, did have a lot more ability to go ahead and make the whatever you want to call the American dream or something go ahead without all this shit from the government that makes it much more difficult to go ahead and make the money that you want to make without having to get stuff taken from your pockets here and there. So I think there's also just a generation gap of people who want to go and do the things in their field and make the money and make their dream come true just through college. And then they come out of it and they get the job and all of a sudden most of their paycheck is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they still have to pay a whole lot of other things and they're left with not a lot. And even if you try to go through the whole like years and years and years, you're still not getting much more to be able to afford a house.
Definitely.
Something that a lot of people should have been able to just get based off of what you would hear from every boomer story, really.
Like the generation below the millennials, was that Gen Z, they will never be able to own a house. Like the average income now is 50,000 or 45,000 in America.
That's 45, yeah.
And the average house is 400,000. Like you'll never save up. You'll just be screwed.
And now it's kind of by design, right? Because you see BlackRock and Vanguard buying up neighborhoods, and what are they going to do? They're going to make you rent it, and not, and don't get me wrong, buying, a house from a bank is, you don't own it yet, right? You don't own it until you pay off your mortgage, but you're not paying into the ether with the rental, right? Like you're paying into something, you're getting equity back every time you make that payment. You're getting more and more of your home, and we're going to see Gen Z renting. They're going to, my home right now that I'm living in, someone's going to be renting a home like this, where that was never the purpose, right? The suburbs were supposed to be the area where you could, work a decent job, decent career, go buy a house in the suburbs, support your family, those types of things. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Gen Z hopefully will be like the only generation, right? Hopefully we can fix things and maybe get things more back to normal. So Gen Z could be that next lost generation, and then we can go on again, right? And reset and do that. But something like you did, Rudy, and I know it's going to be tough.
What do you say to a generation that? What do you say to that generation? Like, oh yeah, Fuck for you guys, huh?
Well, I mean, listen, there was always the lost generation. And what I mean, listen, they're still going to be Americans. They're still going to live significantly better than 99.999% of the world, right? Because they're going to be
No.
complaining with the flat screen in their phone.
They
What
will
do
be
you mean
living
no?
better than 99%. You can live better in Mexico now. That's why so many Americans are moving to Mexico. You can have a better life in Mexico and work remotely.
What part of Mexico, though? Anywhere?
No, not anywhere. Obviously,
Okay.
you can live in Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, Colima. There's, name it. You can get there and live way better and work remotely. But not
And I
just
do actually.
Colombia. You can do
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. You get no income tax. Like, there's so many better places right now because we're being taxed to the point where we can't survive.
Yep. And I do think this actually plays into the whole male role model thing because a lot of guys don't either were stricken of their ambition through school,
Yep.
or they have no ambition anymore because with the way things are, they don't see the upward value and the ability to find someone and provide for a family.
Yes.
Because that's one of the things that a lot of guys want to do. They want to have someone to provide for a family. And when you can't do that, that really kills a lot of guys' ambition to even try anymore.
But that's why you just have to work harder, right?
Yes, yeah. No,
Right.
I'm saying I know that, but what I'm saying with those conditions, yeah, you have to work harder, but it's not always something that just gets through to people when they have already tried to work and then it just didn't work out. Sometimes they hit a wall and they stop. You want them to get back up, but it's not always easy to just get that person to get back up.
You got to tell that person he's being a pussy. You got to get up.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
This is like
So Rudy,
we are not changing the system. The system is not
Yes.
going to change.
So
We
Rudy,
have to change.
will people getting away from college and going back into the trades kind of make that mentality a little bit better, though? If they're like more construction workers, if they're doing more trades, that's hard work jobs, right? Where if you go right into college, you're going to expect to go sit in an office and do a lot of nothing and, let the money roll in as you play on a
And the
fucking
Fight
computer,
Club.
right?
Yeah.
But if people are, we're starting to see that shift. I work at a job where I talk to, 16, 17, 18-year-olds all the time. And a lot of them are saying, I got most of them are going, they're still trying to do college, things like that. But there's a good handful that are like, I have no plans on going to college. I'm going to be an electrician. I'm going to be a plumber. And like they want to do those things. And I think we're seeing a shift back to that. And I think that'll lend itself to your concept more, Rudy, where they're doing something difficult already. Their job every day is difficult. Their easiest job is harder than, any job that you're going to have in an office.
Mhm.
So they're going to have that mentality because they're going to fuck up all the time on their job and have to fix it. And especially if you're a journeyman, you're not going to find someone like, if it's a big job, you'll work each other, right? But if you're mostly alone, you mess up, you got to figure it out. You have to pick it up. You break something, it's on you to fix it because you're on the job for the company. And I think that's going to lend itself to your mentality where our generations, David's generation, we were all told, go to school,
Yeah.
get that piece of paper, do that job after that piece of paper, work to pay off your loans. Then you'll be able to provide for your family and do everything you want after. And we were sold a bill of goods. And I personally said it should be illegal for schools to offer a liberal art loan as a job, as a degree, because there is no liberal arts jobs. And unless you're doing like math, something in the math sciences, so finance counts, you're not going to get a real job in the world. Like that's just kind of what it is.
You get
I
protesting.
disagree with you. You can't just make it illegal. If you're dumb enough to give a university $100,000 to teach you bullshit, then you don't deserve your money.
But you're telling an 18-year-old, what the hell did we know at 18?
I knew not to do that, and so did you, and so did David.
We did, but at the same time, how many kids that are you ready to actually make real life decisions at 18? We're told we are, but in this, especially with the generation we had, we were on our parents' teat for the most part. A lot of our friends were on our parents' teat, and that was a helicopter mom generation more than usual. And it's like, I mean, again, should you make that decision? No. But asking an 18-year-old, who most 18-year-olds are morons, that's why we see the stupid fucking protests going on campuses. And we've seen them in the 60s and all these other times. I get it. We want them to make those decisions. But at the same time, where are their parents too?
Real quick. I mean, understandable in some ways. But I think it's not even age factor. I think when you see, because you said go to school, get a job through school, through college.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make the argument about that. And I don't agree with the illegality part of it, but if you want to make the argument about that, really, I mean, it's a lot of propaganda being pushed into it. So you don't exactly like a lot of people that are not stupid get felled by propaganda pretty easily, honestly, because it's supposed to be able to get into your mind no matter how smart you are, just by playing off of things that you believe in. So it was a ton of propaganda being pushed on people, still being pushed on people in order to get them into college. Now, you could say you shouldn't have fallen for it, which is completely fair to say. I don't think that's wrong to say. But I think that's more of an argument to say, well, some people got fucked out of these things by given this promise of at least a good enough job to be able to pay back your college your loan. But they weren't able to because when they got out, their degree didn't mean squat.
Yeah, Rudy, you have anything on that?
Yeah, sorry.
No, that was good. Like they should have known. Like, and if your degree, like when we all graduate from college, you're at 0. You're not at 9. You're competing against everyone else. Especially, I was in finance. I was competing against everyone after the financial collapse. Why would they hire me, a kid with 0 knowledge, versus someone else? You just have to work hard. You have to take shit jobs. The best thing now that a kid can do is, if they have a college degree and they can't get a job, is you have to get certified in something. Like I got certified through like HackerRank, which is good for Python. You have to get certified at Microsoft. So you have to prove to these companies that you can do something. A lot of times, like even Elon Musk, and I keep harping on him, but he even says you don't really need a college degree. You could just get certification. So it proves that you are working harder than the other people who are just going to college just to go. Like that's also a problem too.
Go ahead, Rudy. Yeah. So go ahead.
Just to go to college, I was a little lost. I went to college because that's what you're supposed to do. But then, like, you have to learn your lesson. I still worked while I was at college. I was still, shoveling shit on.
You were building a boat all throughout college.
Yeah, I was building a boat.
You were building a fucking boat.
Yeah, for that Dutch guy.
Quite literally building a boat.
He ended up sailing around the Caribbean for years on that boat.
That's awesome.
That, you know what? That's good craftsmanship by you. That thing didn't sink, because there were days where you're like, I just want to put a hole somewhere where you can't find it because it was pissing you off. But but here's the thing too, and it's like, so my college experience probably a little different than most. I was a fucking idiot for a full semester, and I screwed up my own degree. Period. So it's like, I'm a person, like I say, like the liberal arts thing. I ended up with a history degree by my own devices. All accounts and purposes, I should have been a history teacher. I was like, I did everything but student teach, but that was on me. I was an idiot, so I, lay in the bed that I sleep in. I don't complain. I don't care, because everything I did has led me up to here, and I'm happy with where I am as a person. I have, beautiful family. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So it's like, I'm not angry, but my thing is, I was going for a purpose, right? I had a purpose. There was a job at the end of the tunnel. I was going to coach and do everything. I was going to be fine. I was an idiot, but I feel like a lot of kids also fall into that, right? Because David, you've said a ton of times, college is a joke. Yeah, you get a bunch of morons drinking, having sex. That's all they learn. They learn how to drink well. They learn how to get chicks, and girls learn how to get dicked. And then outside of that, they don't really learn anything. You come out with this business degree or whatever degree, and you don't really learn much of anything while you're there.
And the thing is, and I like that Rudy's preaching on the personal accountability train of this, because it really is. You should have personal accountability, even if you get duped. You should, I got fucked up. I got duped. All right, time to get back on the horse and keep going, because you got to find a way.
But pulling the bootstraps up is racist, David.
I know, right?
Racist
and that's the thing, though, is that you have to have that within you, and you have to be able to say, look, you could say, you told me there was a route to success, and this route just didn't work. You dickheads. You can be mad about that. But then you could be mad about that and then use that to fuel the energy in order to actually make something of what you want to do, whether in your career or just in your life in general.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially college too has an issue is with these teachers. Not all of them are good, because I remember when I was in college, we had a finance teacher, and he never worked in finance. He was a career professor. And I remember I looked at his car, and he was driving a Nissan Altima. You're in finance. How are you driving a shit car and you're 50 years old? What are you doing? But then we had another teacher who was very good. He was a lawyer, and he was a multimillionaire in New York City. Like him, I want to listen to. He knows what he's talking about. So that's like, also, you have to have that ability to analyze when someone is bullshitting you. And then also when someone has real world experience is super important.
And there's no excuse to not be good at financing and marketing. We went to Marist, everyone could see that. And it's like, they have a mock New York Stock Exchange downstairs. Like, if you can't learn in the Hancock Center, if you can't learn about stocks from some of the professionals, because One thing I will say about Marist, as much as they've gone to the left, whatever, they do have some great professors that have great
Yeah.
real world experience. That if you ask the right questions, they're not going to spoon feed you, right? Again, take the initiative. They're going to teach you what they teach you, but you're an adult. If you ask the right questions, you can get the right answers, right? And I was blessed, in my department, like I said, history. I learned what I learned about history, but the bottom line was I learned how to research there, and that's benefited me in a lot of things that I do now in terms of the show and things like that. But you get what you take what you get out of it, right? If you work and whatever you do, you're going to get it back out. And you worked hard and you could have stayed in the bond market and probably grinded and worked up, but you wanted it quicker. And that's fine. So you went out and got it, Rudy. And that's a good thing. And that goes with the whole entire role model thing. And I think that with the way you think, it might be practical for you to do something like what we're doing now. And I know you're talking about like self-help things and things like that, how it's, so saturated. But like you said, the ones that actually have never done anything eventually get exposed, right? The ones that are just sitting there and they've listened to Goggins, they listen to Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, and just kind of try to regurgitate it their own way. When they're asked to be original, they can't.
Mhm.
Where someone like you experienced a shit ton in your life, Rudy. You've gone through a lot in your life and you've experienced it. So someone like you is an inspiration to a lot of people, right? And I feel like your story and who you are, and like no one thinks that about themselves, right? You're probably listening to this like, what the fuck do I have to offer? But it's
A
like,
lot.
there you go. So you definitely could. So maybe this could be a spring off point. We could have like Colich's corner and let you go and just spout off with like your self-help and manliness.
Yeah. If people want to listen, people want help, I'm glad to encourage them to be better and work harder.
I
Because
mean, you never
especially
know until
this,
you do it. You got to just start doing it and see who listens. There's always
yeah,
people.
that's very true. Because the thing is, especially today, it's so much harder for this generation, and now it's going to be even harder for the next generation to have better lives than our parents. And the only
Mhm.
way to do that is to just suck it up. It's the
Yeah.
only way. We ain't changing. The rules ain't changing. They ain't going to stop printing money.
No.
Like,
And the thing is, too, it's like, can it change eventually? But that also takes us, right? And the right people doing the right things. Like, we can work this, we can get this to a more manageable system. But it takes the people to all fit in and grind and do what they do best. It takes the leaders to lead. It takes the people that want to go into politics to do it the right way. It takes the people that want to go into the financial sector to get away from modern monetary theory and stop fucking everything up in the banks. It takes people to sit there and say, hey, the Fed is useless. It is not doing its job like it's supposed to. Let's get rid of it. Let's figure out a better thing. Let's not go CBDCs. It takes a lot of these things, but it's going to take time. And I think part of the issue, Rudy, is everyone wants instant gratification right now. We live in a generation where, you click on our YouTube thing right now and you're watching us in 2 seconds. So it's like,
Please do that, by the way. Please do that. That'd be cool.
Yes, please watch us on YouTube, watch us on X, watch us everywhere, and subscribe and follow and do all that good stuff. So what is your answer for this? I know you just say, pick up your fucking boots, strap them up, get to grinding. But if you're somebody that is super down, because depression's real. I know Andrew Tate says depression's fake. Depression is real. People do suffer clinical depression. I think it's overused right now. Not every kid has anxiety, panic attacks, depression. They're going through puberty, and doctors are lying to them to get them on pills forever. But what do you take to the person who's legitimately down and out, who maybe just got really fucked over, cheated on by his significant other as she got plowed by like 19 guys while he was in basic? Or you know what I mean? Like, what do you say to that person that is actually down and out? Not just, stop being a bitch, but how can you actually think about maybe inspiring them in something that you've experienced?
well, if you're down and out, you're okay. So life, you're on a road and you're driving at 100 miles an hour. Either you fall off, go off the bridge, cry your eyes out, or you just keep fucking pushing until it gets a little better, until the next rest stop or whatever. Like, there's no other choice. And especially, let's say if you lose a loved one, what do they want to see you? Just cry your eyes out like a little bitch? Like, no, they don't want that. They don't want you to just mope around. You have to just push through it. Like, there's nothing else to do. Like, you can obviously take your time and grieve, but then
Yeah.
you got to keep going. Like, otherwise you're just a sad sack of shit. Like, I'll give you an example. My roommate Cole, who's dead.
Yeah.
Why did he die? He died because his girlfriend left him, so he killed himself. So now he's not here. He's nothing. So he just gave up. Like you just can't do that. There's no that's not a solution. That's just like the coward's way out. And especially if you have children and you do that, that is even worse because then you're abandoning your family. Like that's my advice to, on that, I guess.
No, I
I mean,
think
that's what you want.
that's good
That's
advice. I like that
understandable.
analogy.
Yeah,
I like the
yeah.
analogy of driving 100 miles an hour, and either you got to just, you can go take a break, you can get to that rest stop, take a breather, but you got to get back on that freeway sometime soon. You got to get to your destination. And I think that is a good analogy, right? Because I do think that is true. And and that's the best way to look at it, right? If you're down and out, and I guess there's also if you're at rock bottom, the only place you can go is up from there, right? So if you just start working and you start grinding, you'll start to see improvement. You will start to see change, and it's hard. And it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to do, but people can do it. Now, you're also a fitness guy, and I mean, when we were in school together, you were always, you liked being in good shape, right? Like you were never like hardcore weight room, like really big on what you were eating, and like you always like you would watch it, but you weren't a fanatic about it. When did you kind of change to be like much more into lifting and like working out, much more into what you eat, much more into like what you're putting into your body? When did that shift and why?
I would say when I was 27, I really got into it because I just getting older, you just have to. You can't just like eat a pizza, drink beer, and then like just recover the next day. Now that we're older, I'm in my 30s. What do you? Oh, you're drinking?
Conservative Dad's Ultra Right Beer, Seth Weathers. What's going on?
Switch to this. I'm drinking. I can't see it. Mineral water.
No, I do. Listen, I do drink a ton of the water, but this is a former guest, Conservative Dads. I make sure I drink his beer because this is the answer to Bud Light being a bunch of woke bitches. So definitely go by Seth Weathers, Conservative Dad's Ultra Right Beer, but also do everything Rudy's saying as well.
I don't
So,
like the whole
continue, Rudy.
the whole push with Bud Light. How like people are trying to like just take it back. Like, oh, they employ Americans. Like, you need to fire everyone in your
Yeah.
marketing department. You need to stop that whole agenda and just really do what Bud Light was about in the 90s and the 80s and that.
Which is not going to happen.
But they're not an American
It's
company
not
anymore.
going to happen.
They
No,
were
they're not.
sold to Ambev, I don't know how long ago, but Anheuser-Busch was an American company initially. But when they went to Ambev, now they're just, I don't know what they are, Dutch or something, or there's something over there. But definitely, again, I will give it again. Conservative Dad's Ultra Right. The answer to Bud Light, go give Seth some love. Go on his website, buy some beer. If you like Bud Light, you'll like this as well. It's better than it. Anyway, that is my plug, Seth. I don't get paid anything by, but you're awesome. But overall, so you started at 27. You want to put things in your body. What are the type of things that you do?
Excuse me?
David, shut up. Want to put better things in your body. Shut up, David. But what are the type of things that you do? What are like the supplements or the vitamins that you take?
All right. So I'll give you like a real world example of my day of what I do. So like on average, I wake up at 5 or 5:30 around that time, help the wife get ready. I make her breakfast, and then she goes off to work. And then I will go swimming in the pool here in the winter. Once it turns the spring or the summer and it's warm, I don't swim. Only when it's freezing. And if it's hot out, or warm out in the spring or summer, I'll take a freezing cold shower. That way, like you're awake, you're ready to go. Then I have my pre-workout, which is amazing by Thorn. I love that shit. And then I go hit the gym and then I work out. If I don't have time to work out, like I have too busy, then I make sure I do at minimum 100 push-ups every day and 100 sit-ups, and I do 50 squats body weight. I also take a shit ton of vitamins. I can name them all, but like there's a lot here I have on the side.
What are some of the most important ones? Like, obviously there's always like there's imperative ones you can't do without, and then maybe there's some that have benefits, but if you didn't have them, like maybe it doesn't like it won't rock the boat that much. What are like your must-have vitamins in your diet?
Thorn multivitamin AM, take that one. And then they also make a PM one, so you get good sleep so you can recover. I love that one. So it's AM, PM. And then also I'm all about this lately. It's called vitamin D and K2. It's drops. You take 2 drops once in a while. So you just kind of open it up and pop it right in. I usually do that like 3 times a day. It really wakes you up. Those are the main things. And also recovery. Honey. After I do like an intense workout, I take a spoonful of honey, and I take dark chocolate, no sugar, all natural.
Dark chocolate's great.
Dark chocolate's good. And then, and even like if you have like natural chocolate milk too, right? Like good milk, not shit milk, because it's meant to from
think
what I've
dark
heard,
is
it
better.
does give you back everything. It's like better than Gatorade, better than water. Because you have like as long as it's not like high fructose shit in it, like if you have decent like sugars or something, that helps give you back because you lose a ton of sugar, a ton of salt while you work out, while you sweat. So you want to put some of that back in a good way. But that's a good start. Now, what about for someone who, if you're not remoting from home, right? And you're out and you work your ass off, and then you come home, you have young kids. What could be like more of a truncated version like that? Like if someone doesn't have time to go to the gym, every day, 3 times a week, like do you suggest just doing the push-up, sit-up, squat regimen that you do and doing, your, cold shower in the morning, supplements? Like, would that be at least good enough as a start?
Yeah, like say definitely take a cold shower in the morning to kind of wake you up. But if I'm on the computer all day, program or doing work, I will just stop and I will just bust out my push-ups, chug a bunch of water, and go right back to work. Like you have no excuse anymore. Because even when I was working in finance in the office, I would stop and do push-ups in the office, and
You were
people would
that
look
guy.
at me. Yes, 100%. People look at me like I'm a crazy person, but like sitting is one of the worst things for your body. Like so, you gotta like move like all the time.
It's actually like a super unnatural thing. Like our bodies are not
Yeah.
meant to be sitting, and and the way we sit too, like it's actually not conducive to like good body posture.
Yeah,
And that's
it hurts
why,
your lower back.
yeah,
I can attest to that. It hurts your lower back.
it does. And the fact that like the way like we sit comfortably is like no lumbar support at all, which is why we all have fucked up lower backs. It's like, all these things. And, like you said, and that's why at the offices, there's so many pushes to have the rising workstations, right? So you can stand up and work for a little while. Cause, for the longest time, human beings were hunter gatherers. You were always on your feet. You were going to get food. You were picking, you were cooking. The only time you sat down is maybe to eat, and then you lay down to sleep. We're meant to be on our feet. We're meant to move around. We're meant to be physical. We're meant to be active. So I think that's a really good thing, Rudy. And I'm happy that, you kind of shared that. And so you like Thorn. Now, what do you like about Thorn? You kind of push them. What's your favorite thing about them? Are they like super all natural? Give us your pitch for Thorn.
Thorn, I really like them because they're also providers of the UFC, so they have really high standard testing. So you can actually buy they have the regular version of
Are
Thorn,
they an
and you
American
have
company?
yes, and then you can also buy the version above that's like super pure, where they really test it. So even if you're like an athlete, you can still get those. I also really love this company by Gary Beck. He's the one that really helped Dana White.
Okay.
I also take a bunch of his stuff too.
Dave,
Like
why
I
are you
have
smiling about Gary Beck?
No, not about Gary Beck. Don't pay attention to me. Keep going, Rudy.
Oh, Jesus.
what? You don't like the guy? What? What's
No,
wrong
no,
with
no.
him?
It's nothing about him. It's about a text I got. You don't have to worry about
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
Share it. No, David, share it.
No.
Share the text, David.
No, because it's stupid. It's gonna ruin the train. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Rudy.
Rudy. Sorry.
I'll say it. I'll say at the end of
I
the
was
show.
trying to ruin
End of the
everything.
show when we have more time.
Fine. Go ahead, Rudy.
I also like these two that are from his company, the 10X. These are like his focus pills, not pills, the vitamins. So they're really good too. Like there's so much good products out there if you just do research. And also what's good for my body might be shit for your body. So like you also gotta kind of experiment and see what really works for you. I also love mushrooms. So I do take lion's mane. I love lion's mane for your brain and then also for your tummy microbiome.
Now,
I
what
love
about Alpha
those.
Brain? I know Joe Rogan pushes Alpha Brain. Have you ever tried that? What is your opinion on it?
I tried that and it made me super nauseous. I couldn't handle it.
I heard it doesn't work for everyone. I heard some people it works with and some people it doesn't. It's like every other supplement, right? Some supplements work great for people, and because everyone's different, we have our own, body chemistry. Now, on your X, are you open to DMs if people have questions about fitness, about vitamins, about these types of things? Would you be willing to talk to them on DMs?
Yeah. Anyone if anyone's serious though, I don't want to help anyone who's like, "Oh yeah, I'm curious," and they don't follow through. If you seriously want advice or help, I will take my time and help you. But you have to make the commitment, It's especially too when I would reach out to mentors and I would tell them, "I need your advice and what you say, I will do it." Because otherwise you're just wasting my time and their time.
Yeah.
Now, what about dick pics? Are you all about dick pics? Do you want those in the DMs as well?
Absolutely not. I don't want that question.
Definitely send that to Rudy. Rudy's all about them dick pics.
Ah, jeez.
What was that website that we used to go on that we used to have put in the phone numbers and it would send people a ton of dick pics?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, there was a website that we used to do that. I forget what it is, but it was
That's
a
all
funny
you,
website.
Questa. That
No,
is
it
not
was
me. I don't know
no,
what
no,
you're
no.
talking
This was
about.
college.
No,
I don't want to
howdy.
hear that, Rudy. Rudy's sitting there. And no, but you would put someone else's phone and it would just destroy their phone, and it was amazing. And definitely don't do that, kids. Don't do that. That is bad. That is bad for you. Anyway, I want to move on. I'm happy, that fitness journey, and I'm going to be taking your advice. I already asked you because I'm becoming a fat fucking slob. So I need to start doing something to really jumpstart my life again and get back going. But speaking of jumpstarting, the direction of this country, Rudy, you're back in the States for a long time. You were in South America, living, and then you eventually decided to come back to the States with your lovely wife, and you're in the great free semi kind of purplish now state of Texas. Where do you feel is going on right now in the country? We have the protests all around basically New York, mostly New York campuses, but now getting around the country with the war that really has nothing to fucking do with us between the Palestinians and Israel. But on top of that, we've also had, just a lot of things going on with Trump and the election and all the cases that he's catching. So, what do you feel the direction of the country is right now? Where are we going? And kind of, give me the rundown of what you're feeling.
Let's be honest, it's going in the wrong direction. No one thinks it's going rightly. If you look what year it is now, 2024, if you look back, do you think we were in a better place in 2016, or are we worse off? Everyone agrees we're worse off. The inflation's out of control. Food prices, all prices all over are too much. People are struggling to live. There's rampant crime. There's homeless all over the place. No one with a sane mind would think America is heading in the right direction.
Now, do you sympathize with the people that are like, I know it's not going great, but I hate Trump that much that I won't vote for him because I think he's fucking evil and he's going to be a dictator and things like that? What is your message to those people?
Well, let's be honest. How was the country under Trump, and then how was the country under Biden? If you don't like Trump, I get that. Then, but don't vote for Biden either. But then I can't tell you what to do with your vote. It's your vote. You get your own.
Oh, I can. Don't fucking vote. I don't care. Listen, voting's not a right. Voting's a privilege. If you're too stupid, please don't vote.
You
Period.
could vote for what's the other guy? Kennedy. I like Kennedy's not bad.
Oh,
If
I
you
think
don't
he's
really,
awful.
he's better than Biden.
Biden's too stupid to be a dictator. Kennedy would want to be. On the climate shit, he would absolutely force people to do his psycho climate shit. I don't like Robert Kennedy at all.
Okay.
But without going too far in, you were fairly left leaning for most of the time that I've known you. You were definitely more centrist left. You weren't a crazy. I always joke around, tell you you're a commie and everything like that. But you were certainly more left of center when it came to your beliefs, your philosophies, for a long time. When did the switch go where now I don't think you're necessarily right of center. I think the left has just gone so fucking far that you're now considered on the right. So when did the kind of shift go with you where it's like, man, I might not be on the right, but I sure as hell can't vote with those people anymore?
It's how do I phrase this without being rude?
You could be rude.
The goal, they moved the goalpost. I was over here and they just moved it, and I'm still over here. I didn't really never change my mind about most things. Like, I believe in freedom of speech. I believe, everyone, if they work hard, they should have the right to whatever they want to do, as long as it doesn't hurt someone else. I believe if you commit a crime, you should go to jail. Like, this is like common sense, and now it's like, right wing stuff, which I just want a better country. But now, like, they just switched everything around. It's topsy turvy.
And it's funny because these were the basic tenets that the right and the left agreed on, right? The right and left kind of agreed on those things. And where we kind of differed were the social things, the safety nets and all those types of things. That's where the divide always used to be. How much of a safety net should we provide? How much should go to defense? Some of the constitutional things that we would debate. But it was never to the point where now we're quite literally arguing those common sense things that you said. Like, it's not work hard and you'll get far. It's, well, complain enough and I deserve it because I'm a minority. And it's like, we're seeing such a shift that went on. And now, so am I correct? You can correct me if I'm wrong. Were you a Bernie Sanders supporter when he was running?
I preferred him more than Biden. Let's say that.
And what about Trump if he would have gotten in there against Trump? Because you were not the biggest fan of Trump initially.
No, I was not. I'm still not the biggest fan of Trump, but I will vote for him over Biden.
Absolutely.
It's the lesser of two evils at this point. What else are we going to do?
And that's the thing. I'm done with that phrase. I don't even see Trump as an evil. Trump is a Bill Clinton Democrat. The guy says a lot of things. He sounds like Obama in a ton of his speeches, like especially with foreign policy and immigration. They are very similar sounding. So it's like, I don't even think like at this point it's a less of two evils. I don't think Trump's all that bad. For me as a conservative, I think he's a little bit too left on some shit and a little too authoritarian on some things that he wants to do. Like I want someone, a little less, but he's also very states' rights. So I can't be mad at him for that. So it's a very weird thing. So you plan on voting for Trump, if that makes it sound correct, right? In your area in Texas, Texas is really free, but man, that house over there in the state house, you have a bunch of left-leaning fucking Republicans that suck. In your area, do you have like a good representative that you actually like? And how are your people there in Texas that politically, if you're paying attention?
I'll be honest with you, since I've been here in Texas, specifically in San Antonio, I have not seen one Biden sign. It's all Trump. I haven't seen one. I'm honest. That's not being biased. Like I'll see Trump bumper stickers. I will not see Biden.
Now, are you afraid that like Austin and Dallas are going to be enough to make it pretty purple there because populations are massive there?
No, Texas is definitely going red.
Dave, you had something to say?
I was going to say, I will say this. I don't know how many Biden voters are that enthusiastic to actually put his name on stuff. Not to say like that
they're going to go out and vote on voting day.
Exactly. That's my thing. So like Trump voters are enthusiastic, like especially diehard Trump voters. Man, they'll put his name on every goddamn thing. But like Biden voters, there's very little that I at least have seen. But there's very little that are so enthusiastic about Biden that'll put his name on something. Most of them will just go in and say, I don't really want Trump, so they'll vote for Biden on a day.
This is the first time in my life that the Republicans and the right are yelling their candidate out loud. And the leftists and the people on the left are like, I'll just quietly go and vote for him because, I don't want to get ridiculed. I know Biden sucks. But like, it was always like the Republicans would be like, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to vote for him. I'm just going to go do it because you're going to ridicule me. But now it's like, even people on the left, if someone says like, I'm voting for Biden, they're like, you really will admit that? Like, you're going to admit you're voting for him? Like, we're all going to vote for him, but don't admit it. Like, he sucks. Like, he's quite literally like, he's going to go down as one of the worst presidents in history.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the worst. I think Woodrow Wilson takes that cake by a long shot, but Biden's going to go down as one of the worst. He tanked our economy. We have no strategic oil anymore if we do get into a war. Like, we barely have a military. We gave a ton of our fucking weapons over to Ukraine. I don't know. I can't see the logic in voting for him. Now, is there anyone, Rudy, that you would like to see potentially run in the future? Obviously not right now because we have Biden and we have Trump kind of set. Is there someone that maybe outside of these realms that you would vote for?
Tulsi Gabbard.
You like Tulsi? Why do you like Tulsi?
I just like what her political views are. I like how she's pissed off. I like how she's former military. And I just think it's like a breath of fresh air because I truly believe that she is a woman for the country. She's not going to be bought like these other people. Like the thing too with Biden is Biden's not running this country. We don't know who's in charge. We don't know who's pulling the strings. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, at least even though I'm not the huge fan of Trump, at least Trump is making the decisions. He's mentally there.
At least trying to, and he's not getting lied to.
Yeah, Biden's on stage shaking hands with ghosts. It's
what
is happening.
He said pause the other day.
You don't know how nice that ghost is. I mean,
those ghosts could be pretty cool.
It could be very gracious ghosts. I would give it a handshake.
I mean, they're trying to pull him into where he belongs. They're like, hey, Joe,
you're supposed to be on this side.
How many drugs are you on? Why are you still alive? Come on, dude. You've been dead for like 3 years. You're a cadaver at this point. Like,
there's a video of him walking into the bushes.
That was early on, too. That was still when he was semi-coherent. He did that in the White House.
The issue is, if this man was working at any corporation, as any high position, they'd be like, okay, it's time for you to retire. You're fired. Like, but for some reason,
a way to get him out of there.
He'd be fired at McDonald's. He would be fired at McDonald's. Like the moment one lunch rush came in, he'd be like, "Oh, Mama, what did you order?" And they'd be like, "Can I have a Big Mac?" "Oh, your kid's adorable." And he would go and snip the kid, and they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here, you creep!" Like,
I just think eventually those like demon hands are gonna come up like in the movie Ghost and just
oh my
carry
god,
him
and just
away.
pull him down.
Yeah.
That scene terrified me. I'm not
Like-
gonna lie. David, explain to Rudy your theory though, because he likes Tulsi. You have your theory of no good-looking people in politics.
Oh yeah, that was a throwaway theory. I was because of Anna Paulina Luna. I said that dumb shit. Yeah, but no good-looking people in politics, because good-looking people get be able to ruse people even more than the ugly people have so far.
It's a true point that happens in business. It happens in
Yeah.
music. Yeah.
Now, do you think Tulsi has turned around some of her positions on like abortion and stuff, legitimately turned them around, or is she saying it to continue to get on like conservative talk shows? Because she's you persona non grata on the left right now. Like they're not going to bring her on CSNBC or anything like that because she is saying the base things, right? Do you think that she would stick by her guns and continue to stay more that way, or will she go back to the woman who endorsed Joe Biden?
I have no idea. I do not know enough
It scares me
information
about
about politics to make an informed decision.
That's fair.
No, that's fine. So, last thing I want to jump in you with the woke mind virus.
You keep saying things, man. You need to rephrase some
Dave,
things.
where's
You need to be a little bit better.
if you were a good producer, you'd have cuts of all these. We'd have a great social media, and we'd
I
be
know,
able to do
right?
that. You're just a slacker. You just show up.
Yeah, well.
Where's the
People show
live
up.
chat? There's no live
it's-
chat.
There's no one talking.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's why.
We're like Alec Baldwin right now. I'd be asking if there's a number for people to call and if there's any calls. Have you ever heard of that, Rudy?
That's a bit that no one but anyone who listens to Pat Gray
So
knows.
it's an old bit where Alec Baldwin decided to do like a radio show one day because he thought radio would be easy. And because he's Alec Baldwin, he'd get a ton of people to come and like call him and talk to him. And what was the producer's name? Was Ivan. And like every so often he'd be like, Ivan, are there any calls? And they'd be like, okay, still no calls. And like it went on the whole show, and I don't think he got a single call. So it just shows that Alec Baldwin's a douchebag. And
He just punched some lady.
the guy's gonna go to prison for something at this point. Like he's just really going down bad. Like it's awful.
Anytime I hear Baldwin, I think of South Park.
Yeah. That is good.
Baldwin Mansion gets bombed by Canadian.
All right. So Rudolph, the woke mind virus. You were in the business world probably when it like kind of started, right? When like people were starting to get touchy about shit is when, when we were like out of college, like it was slowly starting at that point. It wasn't as heavy with like critical race theory and DEI, but they were certainly pushing more political correctness in terms of dealing with people then. When did you see it kind of take root? And also, what was it like kind of watching it fully take root from afar? Because when DEI, CRT, all this stuff really went down and really started to take hold, you were in South America. So what was that like being from the outside looking in? And what do you think really caused it?
Well, we know what caused it. It was because of Occupy Wall Street. It's because the people were getting together and they were attacking the ruling class. They were demanding higher taxes for the rich, better economy, right? Stop printing money. So what did the ruling class do? They went to all the media outlets and they put in this gender identity bullshit. If you can clearly look when Occupy Wall Street hit, and then when the gender identity started hitting and trending on Wall Street Journal, New York Times, it's actually the same time to change the direction of the narrative. And now instead of us fighting the ruling class, we fight amongst each other. And obviously it's a great chess move. Like checkmate, they did it. That was great. But your other question, when I left, it was really sad when I came back because I was like, this country is not the country I came back to. It like really changed. And I was only gone for 3-4 years. And I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, I just remember coming back, there's trash everywhere. There's so much more homeless. I was like, I wasn't gone for a decade. Like everyone just lost their mind.
And it's interesting you say that because too, it's like, it's well known that at the beginning of Occupy, it was a blend, right? It was a smorgasbord. It was people on the right, people on the left, and people that were just tired of, the big corporations, the big banks, just kind of making all decisions, spending, like you said, all the money being spent, all the dollars being printed, all the loopholes for the rich. And it was people on both sides that were just like, this is fucking stupid. And then you had your operatives coming, and it's the same people that are in Antifa now, but they were the black bloc then. They were the ones that came in too and started creating these hierarchies. And I feel like that has to be in tandem, right? Because we know a lot of these activists right now are paid. A lot of these protesters are paid. And I feel like it's the same people paying them that were then paying them to like create the same exact thing as the media saying it. It's now happening amongst the protest. So the protesters are all, they're getting split into hierarchies of gender, of race, and things like that. And, it was even then, if you were white and you were a male, you spoke last at these things at some point during Occupy. So I find it kind of interesting that, like, all at one point, it all came together and boom, it exploded. And it's in academia, it's in our schools, it's in all of our businesses, it's everywhere we look now. And oh, Dave, did you just fucking see this? Hold on. Rudy, you'll be interested in this too. The MCU, Marvel, and Disney just
I don't trust that. I need to see more of it. I need to see if Marvel actually announces it. I saw you DM me that on Twitter.
So
but I don't want to fucking go on about it if it's not true.
So I'll tentatively say, what was it? Small screens or silver? Yeah, I think it was small screens.
Something
it's a
like
small group on Twitter and on Facebook claims that Marvel announced that their next stage of MCU, their like revamp of the MCU, is going to be basically all female superhero based. And
well, X-Men. It was an X-Men.
It was Max, but that was their MCU. It was going to be basically all the female superheroes. And this
would fucking change from the last phase. Nothing would fucking change.
You would think Bob Iger learned with the MCU.
No, they don't learn shit. So I tentatively agree with the Occupy thing because that did happen. There was a bunch of people, a whole different spectrum got together, and then agitators came in. But I think we're kind of going a little bit too far over the fact that there are just tons of people that already wanted this shit in motion way before Occupy Wall Street, in schools, in academia, and in a lot of these fields where it might not have gotten to a lot of normal people in the first place, but it got to a lot of people in power in the first place. So because it came from these intellectuals over to people, and it got them into these feelings of basically being a fucking commie. Because let's be honest, a lot of this shit is just it's just communism with extra steps, or just a different way of thinking about
oppressor versus oppressed. It's all it boils down to that.
So I 100% I could see people, like especially those with big pockets, saying, okay, we can't have this. So we're going to need to have people try to go in and splinter this shit. But I think that we also need to understand that it's been going on for a while now, that this shit has been coming to fruition. It's really been going on for a long fucking time.
Yeah, if you heard on this show, we've talked about Herbert Marcuse and Paulo Freire and things like that. And Marcuse with his academic papers about repressive tolerance, that's been going around since the 60s, Freire getting into school in the 70s. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, Dave, what you're saying, that it was kind of fermenting, and that might have been just kind of the like, okay, push button, go moment. We're unleashing it. So overall, that's absolutely true. And also, Rudy, thanks for coming on. This was lots of fun.
Guys, it was great to be on.
It was awesome.
So once again, he's, one of my best friends, Rudy Colich, Esquire. No, I'm kidding. He's not Esquire. He went around college telling everyone Esquire was him. But no, Rudy Colich, he's, to trade stocks. He's a fitness guy, and he is a former New Yorker, Colombian, now Texan, and settled down there. And overall, an awesome dude. Definitely go on his X and go follow him at Rudy Colich. And there's a puppy in the back. Hello, puppy. But, that's okay. We're dog friendly. But go follow him at Rudy Colich. It's up there on the screen. You could see it. And go on X. And if you have any questions about fitness stuff, you have any questions about supplements or things like that, he's an open guy. If you can't tell though, he's doesn't have much empathy. He will be very straight with you and tell you to stop being a bitch. And some people need that. Yeah. Some people absolutely need that. So definitely go on there. And if you like what you heard here, give us a follow everywhere at the Alex Cuesta Show. If you're on YouTube watching, X watching, smash the like button, subscribe, follow, repost, retweet, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And we'll be back next week as always with another fantastic show. Everybody,